Happy New Year. Good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're from. Today is January 1st, 2026. So, let me just get my channel up. There we go. All right. Excuse my appearance. It is a pajama painting day. So, hopefully we're going to finish this today. We'll see. The goal is to work on the front half of that, of those frosted pieces here. Let me zoom in for you so you can see. So that's where we are. Not sure what else to say about it other than, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Maybe I'm going to zoom in a little bit for your benefit so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Move it up slightly. And let's see what that looks like. One click lower maybe. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. So that's what we're painting. That's where we're going to focus. And here's the picture I took yesterday. You can see those pieces a little bit better. Slightly different in terms of, you know, my perspective and where I took the photograph, but you get the idea. Not too far off. And clearly my eyes see things differently than the camera does. So let me fix this this camera up here. It's a little bit off. There we go. That will work just fine. So, first thing we need to do is we need to mix some colors, I believe. For the most part, what we're looking at here is pretty much a lot of the same colors that we've got going on here. So we've already got our whiskey colors mixed in here, right? What we don't have, there's a number of gray colors in there. So looking at this here, you can see that there's quite a bit of this very light gray that blends into that whiskey color here and there. And you may or may not see it, but the edges of those etchings, the frosted glass, they're slightly indented, so there's a little raise of light on the side of several of them that I can see. So just to put that into perspective where we are and where we're going. So if you're just joining, welcome and Happy New Year's. So let me put this down here, get it out of my way for a second while I get some paint mixed. So I don't think I need to do too much mixing. I think we're going to focus on a couple of light grays maybe. We've got our whiskey colors here already that we worked on yesterday. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of black there. And we'll start here and we'll see what colors need to be added to it. I have a feeling what's going to happen is I'm going to put down sort of this light gray and then blend some of these other colors into it. But let's get the gray started first here. And for your information, These whiskey colors are combinations of mostly a raw sienna and white and yellow. This is cadmium yellow. So raw sienna, add a little bit of cadmium yellow in there into this one. Raw sienna, add some burnt umber and burnt umber here, raw umber here into this one. And then here we're adding a little bit of white and yellow, and here we're adding a little more white and a touch of red, the cadmium red there. I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm feeling like I've got a little too little on there, so let's get that on there the way we should. All right, and check it out. Let's see where we're at. All right, that looks a little too light. Well, maybe not for some of these other parts. I'm going to pull off some of this, and I'm going to make an even lighter one for kind of those highlighted areas. So here we got our lighter one going on. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, that's good for the very the lightest areas of what we're talking about. So I'm talking about the edges of this here and there. So what else do we need? We need something a little darker too. Let me get this into a nice... well, boy, I'm moving things on myself here. Hopefully not too much. Gotta be careful, right? And I just wanted to get a rag so I can wipe this off. I've been working with this rag for a little while now. Right. Now I want this one to be a little darker. How much darker? I'm going to try. So I'm worried the black is a little too dark, but let's see. If I get it too dark, it'll be harder to get it to be lighter, you know. Vicious circle. Add too much of one, and you have to add more of the other. You end up wasting paint. Let's check out that color. A little bit more mixing here. There we go. Right, that is not exactly the color I'm looking for, to be honest with you. And I feel like it's because what I'm doing is I'm closing one eye and I'm just kind of like comparing the color on my palette. It's a little too gray, and I feel like I need a touch of brown in there. But I'm reluctant to put my whiskey color. I think I just want some burnt umber in there. So I'm going to get just a little bit of that, put that in there and see what happens. A little burnt umber. See, I know I've got several colors mixed into this other brown that I've got here, and I want to go one color at a time. I don't want to go too far at once. That's a little bit better. I'm going to do a little bit more. I expect it to be a pretty quiet day here today. I imagine most people are taking it easy, possibly recuperating from a night out. Personally, I like to go to bed on New Year's Eve. My days of being out till all hours of the night are pretty much gone. It's getting closer. Jeez. I'm going to even put a little bit of cadmium red in there. It's a funny thing I'm doing here. I don't want to put too much because it just takes over. Cadmium red. That's the cadmium red right there. That red is such a powerful color that you really need to be careful with it, or it will easily take over what you're doing. Boy, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, there's more red in there. Take the rest of that red that I put over there, mix it in. And hello to you, Happy New Year's. Welcome. My apologies for some background noise. My family is above me in the kitchen doing their morning rituals, whatever they're doing up there. That is really close. I'm going to add a little more brown. Yeah, a little more of the burnt umber. And I know this takes a while, but it saves so much time later on when I'm painting that I don't mind it. And the more mixing you do, the better you get at it. So, you know, get used to mixing colors often. That, I'm going to say, is spot on. That's where I want it. Yeah. Which might mean I have to go back into some of these background colors because it doesn't have that that same hue that I had earlier. So let's get that going there and wipe that off. And we are, I think, ready to start painting. All right, here we go. Get my mall stick down. I got my brushes all ready to go. And before we start, we evaluate, we look at what we've got here, and we make some decisions. I'm going to start. I've been doing really well. I'm going to use my smallest brush here. This is Winsor Newton Series 7. It's a number 0 round brush. Winsor Newton makes really, really good brushes. Most of my brushes are Winsor Newton. This one is real sable hair. Some of you might find offense with that. I don't know. It is what it is. You know, as an artist, you choose the materials that work best for you. Anyways, all right, so yeah, I'm okay with that color there. And so one of my goals here is to make sure that edges of everything are nice and straight and smooth. So I'm going to go a little bit slow, making sure that I'm nice and straight. Straight as I can do it by hand anyways. Get a little more linseed oil on there. And that linseed oil will help you, hopefully my head's not getting in the way. It will help you paint say some people call it a buttery feeling. Think of it like soft butter. So I'm going to stick with this one color for now, and I'm going to paint everywhere I see this light color. I'm going to put it in all those spaces. This will stay wet the whole time without any problems. Alright, that's pretty good. I'm gonna just go down this a little bit deeper into there. Double check what I'm doing here. I'm gonna put a little bit on the other side too. Right into here. And a little bit more down here. Alright. And I'll blend this out later on. Alright, now the next one, it's kind of interesting. I only see it down here, and I see it as a slightly different color too. Maybe? I'm going to do what I just did, I think. Well, it does look darker than the one to the left. I'm going to take a little bit of this that I mixed here. I'm going to take this over here and put it in the middle. And I'll touch this and kind of mix that together. And again, get that linseed oil in there to make it nice and buttery. Get that off a little bit. There we go. A little bit more oil. Alright, let's try that out. Let's see. I think that's hopefully a decent color. And we'll take a look at it and just while I'm putting it on here. So it's going to go straight from the top to the bottom. Right now it looks good. It's just a little bit lighter than what I've got on there. Make sure I'm going nice and straight. Touch more oil. Make sure this looks super straight. Because this glass was etched by a machine, right? So the machine is going to be better at making straight lines than I am. I think that looks all right. Moving on to the next one. I'm gonna skip this one. I don't see those tones here, and I don't see those tones here. So I'm going to skip over to this one here. And I feel like this one, and I can barely see that edge there. There's one right there at the edge. But I think this one is the first color. So let me go back. Pull that off. Get a little oil on it. Always dipping my brush back in the oil, because we are working with oil, not turpentine. Turpentine I use for the first layer of paint that I put down. After that first layer, it's all about oil. So this one is on this side. I know I'm going slow. These are the final touches in this painting, so I want to make sure I get it right. Yeesh. I think I gotta fix something there now. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. Maybe I'm okay. Yeah, I think I'm okay. All right, so I'm just going to do this edge right here. Might pull it in a little bit more just to define it better. You know what? I'm putting on my magnifying glasses because I'm making such small marks. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Kind of takes a second for my eyes to focus with these glasses, but I think I'm getting it. All right. I think that's good. Switch back. Put my other glasses on. All right. All right, now I can go in with the other colors that I've already set up, which is good. So I think we're gonna work with this darker gray for a little while. Get that kind of everywhere, and then I'll get into these other colors. And I might need a little bit of, yeah, I will need some even darker than that here and there. But I'll get to that in a second. Let me clean off this brush. oil, as usual. And that buttery. All right. So everywhere that I see this tone, I'm just gonna kind of go in and paint it. Really kind of a block painting. At this point, I haven't blended anything into it yet. It's interesting as I do this because I keep seeing more colors pop into view, where at first I only saw gray, and now it's quite an array of colors here. And this is kind of a fun painting here in terms of, what I'm doing right now. And this is I can be very painterly with this and worry about the details later. Let's see here. So this is interesting here because there's a little, they overlap here, so I need to find a way to make it pop out a little bit more, so I'm going to do that too. I'm going to leave that for now, just like that. And then just a little bit more. Here, this is actually quite a bit lighter, so I'm not going to go too into this one right yet. All right, let's leave that like that. Okay. Now some decisions to make. So I think I'm going to go with, I'm going to start down here with the darker areas of whiskey that's poking through those, and I'll or should I start with the lighter stuff? I'm going to start with the darker stuff. Make a decision, move forward. That's been my mantra since I've started doing this online. Don't get paralyzed. Make a decision. Keep moving. right? All right, so because this is like a frosted glass here, so we want to make it look frosted, right? So I can't use the same colors that I used back here, right? So I've got to add something to that color to make it look frosted. I believe it's just going to be adding white to it. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So let's take a little bit of, actually, I'm gonna mix this with my palette knife. So I mixed this yesterday. This is just mostly raw sienna and raw sienna, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. Bit of each one of those three. So I'll put that down there. Get some titanium white. Not too much, because I don't want to make it too pale. Right off the bat, add your paint gradually. I've got some dry paint on there that's messing me up. All right, let's see where that leads me. Now this is interesting because it's the darker areas. It's actually, I'm going to add a little black to it actually, a little ivory black. And I think it's because that frostedness has sort of a grayish tone to it. So you want to add kind of white and black. Let's see what that looks like now. Oh, that one. That's better. Yeah, I like that tone right there. So let's keep that right there. Actually, yeah, I'll keep it up here. All right. Now we're going to do a similar thing with one of these lighter tones. I'm trying to look at which one I actually want to go with. I think I want to go with, it's more yellow. So I think I want to go with some of this. Let me wipe that off here. Mostly clear it off. I'm going to take some of this here and I'll put it down here. I'm going to add a bit more of the cadmium yellow to it and white. And more white. It's really light in that area that I'm looking at here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right. So that lightest part, the yellowest part in that frosted glass is where I'm trying to mix right now. Let's see where that is. It's not too bad. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. So I think between those two, I wish they weren't so far apart on the palette, but between the dark here, the light here, and the two grays, I think I need one darker gray, but I'm going to mix that in kind of on the side. Oh. Between this, that one, these two, and I'll mix darker into that. Making a mess here. I need an extra hand is what I need. Need an extra hand. Extra 5 hands would be even better. All right. So where are we starting now? I think we're going to start, like I said, with the darker stuff first. Yep, let's go with the darker stuff first. And so I'll get a little oil on that. Actually, I want to make this more oily. Put the oil on there. There we go. All right. Again, I can be very painterly right now. I'm not blending yet. I'm just getting the colors in there. I'll blend afterwards. There's a touch of this over here. It'll get mostly blended out. Same thing over here. I'll put a touch of it down here. All right. It's super tricky. Ow. All right. All right. I kind of want to take some of this. Put it down here. Maybe scooch of this too. Get a little bit more of that. Maybe even a little touch of this. Touch of oil. Excuse me. It's funny, it doesn't look much different, does it? Add a little more of that brown. Darken that up a little bit. More of this too. I like that color. The color is spot on where I need to be. How far does that go? And welcome, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to my channel. I'm trying to finish up this painting today. This is really the last, these frosted bits are the last little things that I need to do. And it's slow going, but I am absolutely making progress. Alright. I spent a lot of time looking. It's important to look, but it's also important to make decisions and move forward. So I see a little bit of this same color here. Important to move forward, important to make decisions. Gotta do both. I'm going to add some of this same color in some other areas too. Down here I see some of it around here. It gets lighter around that. And underneath that. I love it when a color is spot on. This is a really, really good color that I've mixed here. I might add a little bit of this and that to it afterwards, but I'm really happy with it. See, that's, I'm going to add a little bit here too. Going up here. I hope you're having a great new year so far. I can't complain too much about mine. I'm doing just fine. I'm starting off with painting, and that's better than I did last year for sure. I don't know what I did last. That's the sad part about it, right? I couldn't tell you what I did last New Year's Day. Probably not much. I'm trying my best to be a more active painter, consistent painter. And to do that, you gotta show up, right? Painting this for a few weeks now, I think. Probably approaching or maybe even past 40 hours worth of work. A little bit of that there too. I'm gonna leave that one. All right. Just look at what I got here. I'm tempted to start blending a little bit just so I can see where I'm at. But I also don't want to rush that. I want to get around this one. Is that glowing at all? Let's see. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So right, that center frosted piece. So this one right in here, the left side and the right side. So if I show you the actual picture, it feels kind of glowy to me, if that's a word, right? It's kind of glowy. I'm going to put some of this lighter stuff in there, I think. Clean that brush off before well, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna blend some of this out. So let's get a blending brush out and carefully. Next I'm gonna use a smaller blending brush. I'm gonna use this guy right here. So this is number 1. It's also Winsor Newton. It's called Cotman, and I use it. I've been using it as a blending brush because it doesn't really hold a fine point like I tend to like with most brushes. So I'm just kind of brushing this out, like just kind of blending back and forth. And I keep looking at my painting to make sure that I'm blending in a way that is true to what's going on. There. I feel like I need a line of light or lighter right there because it's a little bit jagged of an edge, isn't it? So let's choose a color. I think I want it to be, maybe this color right here would be good. Let's try that. Just want to sharpen that edge up just a little bit. Let me get my magnifiers on so I can see what I'm doing. My head's not in the way. That looks better, I think. I think it does. Let's check it out here. Get my other glasses on. That's fine. Alright, I'm gonna actually just wipe that off a little bit, and I'm just gonna touch this paint down here. Alright. Put that to the side, go back to my blending brush. continue the blend. I have a little ridge there I'm trying to get rid of. It doesn't want to go away. It might be there from before. That's alright, I guess. This should be a little lighter here. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are. Happy New Year's. Hope you're having a great year to start. I am doing fabulous. I'm just blending out some colors that I put on here a little while ago. Part of me wants a stronger blending brush, something that's gonna really press into the canvas a little bit harder. This one's a little bit light. Let's try this 3mm beveled brush. See, a smaller bristle will press harder. And the bristles won't bend as much. I'll go back. Sometimes I tap, sometimes I brush when I'm doing some blending. Depends on what I'm trying to accomplish. Some areas I just want a slight blur around a color. Some areas it's more of a full-on, heavy-duty blend, if you will. All right, it's coming along. On to the next one. There's some colors in there that I haven't put down yet, so. It's a lonely New Year's Day on YouTube. Lonely New Year's Day. That's okay. It's getting there, getting there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to my last day of painting this painting. I've been working on it for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks now, I don't know. And it's been a challenge, to say the least. But it is coming along. Coming along nicely, I think. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I think it's looking okay. I don't know. It's hard to see sometimes. It's hard to see. All right, I'm going to add some of this highlight stuff that I'm seeing. I've got some of this orangey color. You're welcome to say hi, ask any questions you want. The chat is open. A little linseed oil. And I'm going to go with this stuff right here. Hopefully that's not too... I don't know. We'll have to evaluate. I think I'm going to be using a combination of things. So let's start with this one. And I see this definitely in here. In here. But not a lot of it, to be honest. It's just a hint of it. And then I'll go into another color in a second. I've been pretty stagnant with my artwork for a number of years now, and not because I want to be stagnant with my artwork, it's because, well, you know, life gets in the way. You have a family, you get a job, you do what you have to do to survive, and you know, surviving takes effort. Takes a lot of effort sometimes. So, do what you gotta do. I'm putting this in some areas that I plan to blend out a bit, like over here. I just want a hint of that color in there. And then over here, there's quite a bit of it. That might be it. Let me see. I did up here. So now I think I'm going to go into some different colors here. Now I think I need some of this kind of orangey color here that I've got. So I'm going to take a bit of this color here. I'm going to add it to this over here. I want it to be that orangey-ish color, but I want it to be kind of grayed down a little bit. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's see. See, someone else has joined. Thanks for joining. Welcome. This is hopefully my last day of this painting. Little by little, I am getting closer to being done. And I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty happy with this painting so far. It's been quite a journey. Sometimes it's hard to see all the colors in something, especially when you're talking about glass or something that's reflecting so many things around it, right? You just have to take your time and give your eyes a chance to adjust and see things. Isn't happy with that so far. Let me get some of this other stuff down here. So there's some darker tones here that I want to make sure I get. So I'm going to add just some black to this until I get the tone that I want. Often I try to avoid black because it tends to dull things down quite a bit. But I'm finding with this painting, since I've hung black paper all around it, it's really kind of doing what it's supposed to do. Now I see little bits of this here and there. This will generally get blended out again. And I may even have to go a step darker with this too. We'll see. No rush. Now on this one, I want to make sure I get the top of this with a little dark too, because I need to make it stand out from the one that it's covering in the background there. right. Now, the very edge of this up here needs to be defined a little bit better. I may have, yeah, I'm going to have to go darker on that. That doesn't quite stand out enough. All right, keep going a little bit more. Down here, not much. Now, before I keep going, rinse that off. I'm going to get some lighter stuff too down. Well, tempted to blend it a little bit first so I can see where I'm at. That's probably smarter. Let's blend first. Get our blending brush out. It's funny, it's really not a blending brush that I'm using. It's just a small brush, smallish brush. That is, it's been doing a good job with helping me blend these smaller areas lately, so it has become a blending brush for me. I have to do something with this side. That's not quite where I want it. Now this blurring that I'm doing is going to help, hopefully, is going to help enforce that frosted nature of the glass here. Because it's frosted, it will, you know, the colors behind it should appear dull and should appear blurry, you know, etc. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that so far. Not quite there yet, though. Not quite there. Almost there. All right. So, a few things to do here. Make a decision, move forward. I don't know what my decision is, though. That's the problem. All right, let's start with the left one. Let's just move left to right and see what I got going on. I'm not too unhappy with this one on left, to be honest with you. I might blend it just a little bit more right here. And maybe a little bit more down here. And leave that at that. All right, pretty happy with that one right now. This next one, though, this next one needs a little work. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of color to this. I think. Let's see, is my brush clean? I think it is. Let's get some oil on it. And I think we're going to go with some darker tones here. So I've got this that I've worked with earlier. I think I'm going to start with what I had here. And I just want to try to define, see if I go too dark, that's an interesting dilemma here. So I want to define it, but I don't want it to blend into the background. So what am I looking at here? Am I looking at lighter or darker? I might be looking at lighter. See, I was about to go darker. I'm going to go lighter. Scratch that plan. Scratch that plan. So I'm looking at the top of this here, right? You start to lose it in the background. There's not enough definition, not enough contrast between the two. So I'm actually going to go lighter, and I'm going to go really light. This is going to be a little scary, but I think this is the right path. I'm going to go with the really light here. You know, this is super light, but I'm only going to put in such a little amount and then blend it down. So I need that contrast, and I'm not getting it, and going darker is just going to, I think, reinforce pushing it into the background. So if I go lighter, I think it'll work fine. If you're just joining, welcome. My name's Jason, by the way. I love when people stop by to say hi, or just to watch, and that's fine too. See, that's looking better to me. Now I can see that. Now I'm starting to see that piece a little better, right? Even a little bit more right at the edge there. Can't quite get. I want like this hairline brightness. All right, I'm going to leave it like that. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing on the right here. Yeah, this is coming along now. I'm starting to get what I'm looking at, and it's really about the contrast between the background and the foreground. And let me just wipe that off a little bit. Not cleaning it, just wiping it off so I can go in and kind of blend that together with just this tiny, tiny brush. I need more up there though. Right in here. There we go. And so now I'm looking at some of the nuances of that glass. There's a lot of little, like, it gets lighter and darker and lighter and darker. It's all over the place with what it's doing, because there's so many things reflecting around it. So you just got to pay attention to it a little bit. All right, I'm gonna put a little more of this down here. All right, let me look at that going down to here. I'm happy with that, I think. Let me see. I'm really being nitpicky now. But some of these little things that I'm doing is really gonna help it pop a little bit, you know? And I think I want slightly different color now. I think I want some of this here. Ooh, 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 ooh. Nope, not some of that there. Not some of that there. I'm getting ready to put it down. I'm like, nope, that's not the color I want. I think it's more like this. Since I'm blending it into the paint that's already on there, got to be careful which color I choose, because it's going to it's going to do things I don't want it to do necessarily. And I want just a hairline of that color right here. I'm going to go even higher. Yeah, that's good. I don't even mind that it's a little bit, there's, you know, it got a little bit messy there, but it's still straight. I don't, you know, I'm being painterly with this. I don't need it to be perfect. All right, so here's another area where I've got to make a decision, right? So things are looking very similar here. So I think what I need to do first is define that edge on the right with some lighter values. Like I'm going to choose, get some oil on there, so there we go. I'm going to choose this stuff. Alright, and I'm going to carefully go down the edge here. I can blend some of this out if I need to, so if it's too bright, and it might be a little too bright, but that's fine. I'm going to go a little bit darker, just a hair darker. I've got this over here on the left side. Define this edge a little bit better. Sometimes my hand is so steady. Sometimes it's not. I'm happy to have a steady hand today. Very happy about that. There we go. And I'm going to go into, I'm not even washing my brush, I'm just going into this here. I might even take a bit of this, make it a little bit brighter. And I'm going to go down here on the left. Some of this is artistic license, okay? I'm putting contrast where it needs to be, so that edges are defined well, and you can tell the difference between things without, I don't want you to have to think about it, in other words, right? I might have to cut that back a little bit. Yeah, I think I will. It's kind of getting like this wonky curve to it. I'm pushing it too far out. I'm going to cut that back right now before I go too deep into this. So I'm going to go back to my colors that I was using yesterday for the liquor. Let's see. I'm gonna go into. I might have to mess with this a little bit. Let's see. Oil. a little worried about it because it's I got a couple different colors going on, but I'm just going to make a line first and then I'll mess with that line later. It's a little better. I think I need to cut it in a little bit further though. It's straighter, but still too wide. That's better. I think I'm gonna have to mess with some things up here, probably right in there. Ugh. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Details. I love this part of things, right? This is where everything's coming together and, you know, making really tough decisions at times. But it's doing what I want it to do, and that's really the important part of this. I'm going to take some of this this darker gray that I've got here, I think. And I don't know if the paint in the background is dry or not. What did I do yesterday? Yesterday I did the liquor in the bottom piece. The day before I did that up here, so it might even still be a little wet, which wouldn't be a bad thing at this point. Yeah, really, I just need a little bit of something like that. Let me see if I can blend that out. With the dry brush. I'm going to use my regular painting brush and just kind of touch it a little bit. Yeah, good. That's still wet too. So I can just blend it right into what I was doing. That's the magic of oil paint, right? You can blend for days. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let's look at our example here, right? And remember, this is a photograph that you're looking at right now. Shoot, man, I got all these messages popping up on my screen. Jeez, I touch my phone and a million messages come up. I just go away. Messages like crazy. Oh my God, it's like everyone wants to send me an email right now. So that's what we're looking at. So that's the question. How? All right, I'm going to blend this down a little bit. Here, this is a little bit too bright here. Just going to try to get rid of some of that. Looks better. And let me blend on the left, on the other side here, the background. Let me see if I can get that tighter. So it doesn't look like one is bleeding into the other. Yeah, it looks good. All right. I am fairly happy with that. It's hard to tell. Here's what I'm going to do. Watch this. I'm going to flip this over. Let's see if I think it's straight or not. Can't see it. What do you think? Does it look straight to you? I flip things over because it helps give me a different perspective sometimes. I guess it looks straight. Let's move on. Make a decision, move on. All right. Let's go on to this one right here. So, one of the things is the contrast, right? So, something has to get darker, something has to get lighter. So, we're going to do a little bit of both, right? Before I start, though, I'm going to try to get rid of some of that paint on there because it's a little bit much. And I don't want it to interfere with what I'm going to put down now. So if I just blend it out a little bit, I'll have a better surface, I think. All right. Now I'm going to go with the darker first. So, and then I'm going to go with the lighter. I'm going to do both dark and light. So half of it I'm going to make darker, half of it I'm going to make lighter. Go with this nice dark area stuff that I've got here. All right, here we go. Contrast is the key. Right here. I'm going to try to make this darker. That's good. See, now I can see that. I can see the separation between the two pieces. It doesn't have to be a lot. It just has to be enough. Actually, I'm going to run this down a little bit here. Now, I'm going to get a dry brush. Well, I'm going to clean my brush off. I'm going to use the same brush. It's funny. Now, well, let me not use the same brush. Let me switch brushes here. Let me use a different brush for this. I really shouldn't be using my painting brush for blending, right? I've got a couple of small brushes here that probably do the job. It's funny, some of these are slightly ruined. Brushes get old, you know. Sometimes you forget to clean things properly. I'm gonna use, oh, this one is done. Oh well. My plan has backfired. Alright, my plan backfired. I need some new tiny brushes. Alright, let's just wipe that off. I'm going to blend the way that I was going to. It's important to clean your brushes, man. I do not follow that rule sometimes. And it's not that I don't follow the rule. I try to follow the rule. It's just I forget. Sometimes I'm painting it at different times when I'm in a hurry to get from one place to the other, and well, one thing leads to another, and I forget. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let me see if I could, got a little spot there that's bothering me a little bit. Spot right here. Huh, it's in there. Let me just get a hint of black, just a hint. That little spot's bothering me. There we go. That makes me happy. All right. Now the question is, do I need to do anything on the one in the background? And I don't know that I do. Other than maybe just a touch more blending around that. I don't know. Alright, let me bring this. So, it's kind of bothering me there for some reason. So if you're hanging out and you're watching me paint and you're not already subscribed, I often forget to ask people to do this, and I feel a little guilty asking people to do this, but you know, I like having an audience. I like having people say hello. It's definitely something that drives my my interest to continue to paint. All right, let's move on to this last one. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate the support.